High noon, hello, have heart. We'll talk about stuff. Yes! Oh my God! Can we all be together in real life? I was about to pour more coffee. I'll be right back. It'll be like 1 minute. Check out my house. How's everybody doing? Yo, the birds here is singing the songs of spring. We got some snow melt. It's supposed to get more snow. It's great. I love me some midwinter, early spring transition time. Thanks for spending some of your midday Tuesday, Mars Day, with your dude Lou. I got things of the heart on the mind. And I've had them not just because Valentine's Day. This was the first year I was like all about all the honorings when it comes to Valentine's Day. Like, fuck Hallmark, but we fucking needed that this year. Also, it being still Aquarius season, which, you know, I've been thinking has been like so defined by innovation and a lot of mental activity stuff. And then I was pondering and I was like, you know what? Isn't that also really heart-centered, especially the ideas or like characteristics of really caring for the collective, right? You can't do that with your intellect without incorporating your heart. And then I was thinking, what does heart-centered even mean? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about and explore. And yeah, maybe we'll dive in deeper on like a Zoomy kind of call for folks who want to do that. Anyway, that's where we're going to go. So the heart, you know, I don't know what you're doing, but if you want to put a hand, both hands on your heart, one thing that I always thought of myself as very tender-hearted because I'm really sensitive in all the ways that sensitive can mean. All the ways that sensitive can mean. And recently I have realized I'm not really tender-hearted. It is not my heart that is tender. My belly is tender. My nerves are tender. My heart is kind of hard. I'm realizing that. It's interesting. And part of that realization, I won't get super deep into, but I started working with Rose. And I never really had an opinion on Rose. I kind of rebelled against Rose as the ultimate plant symbol of love and beauty. Because like I just have to buck tradition and trend. I can't help it. It's not conscious. It's my wiring. But when I was landscaping in Idaho, which is like desert-ish, everyone had roses. And it was fall time, so doing a lot of fall cleanup. And so I learned how to prune rose. It was like a week-long intensive training with my boss at the time. And I was learning from him how to prune rose, but also learning from Rose. And that time really altered my ideas and perceptions, and therefore relationship with Rose, which I'm grateful for and is really cool. So it introduced me to Rose in a deep way. Spending a lot of time pruning roses will teach you a lot about boundaries, about being present and being mindful in a very tangible way. If you've ever met a thorn, you get what I'm saying, right? So then I started really working with Rose, and oh man, you know, Rose has those long standing traditions and tendencies and affinities with love and beauty, which isn't just romance and isn't just sex and isn't, you know, there's so many ways to love, and there's so many ways to show it, to receive it, so many forms of being that give and receive love. It's, oh God, I really hope that you're feeling that in your life through people, places, things, plants, hobbies, all the things. I started drinking rose tea, and then I made rose balm. Rose also has great benefits for the skin. And like, I think we all know the wide uses and ranges of rose, but it's astringent. It's great for your skin. Not to plug sales, but hey, there's rose infused witch hazel, there's rose balm, there's rose hips and hyssop balm. The witches, all still plentiful and available at the pharmacy. Please get them. Please grab them. Please use them. Not just for your skincare routines or rituals, but, rub in some rose balm on the heart. Great idea, right? So many different ways to work with rose. Really yummy to drink and really yummy also to smoke if you are a smoker, and also reducing harm. It's tasty and delicious. So like rose is great. Rose, like heart-centered life, like your heart like opening and like all those petals and blossom. Yum, yum, yum. But there's also there's many, many, many plant friends that have relationship with the heart in the esoteric, energetic, psycho-spiritual realm, and in the very real physical, clinical herbalism ways. I am a guide and a share of information, a bridge, a spark. I am not a doctor. If you have cardiovascular disease, please work with a specialist, of course, and get what you need. And cardiovascular diseases are vast. They're super complicated. A lot goes into our heart health. So yes, incorporate plants and herbs into your healthcare. Also confer with specialists. I'm not a cardiologist. That being said, there are ways that we can incorporate plants and herbs, preventative care, and also to address some general things. And of course, the more specific concerns, diseases, imbalances you have, you're gonna work with all your providers. I want to talk a bit about some of the lifestyle things that we can do for a physically healthy heart and also an emotionally healthy heart. Real quick, none of this is going to be new. You are what you eat. Food is medicine. Food is preventative care. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. We know these things. We know that what we consume 3 to 8 million times a day is really important, right? The food that we eat matters. Our physical activity matters. There's things that, and these are things that we do have at least some choice with and in, right? We don't really have, there's not much we can do about genetics. There's socioeconomic factors that absolutely go into your whole health and specifically the cardiovascular system. Your heart is blood vessels and muscles and pumps blood and nutrients and oxygen to all of you. Back to diet though. Like there's ways to really support your health at the heart region, right? And making whatever food and nutrition choices you can within the limitations of really diseased food systems. Garlic is a cardiotonic. I'm really loving garlic, extra, extra. I am not a vegetarian or vegan. I try and be as mindful as possible, not just of how much animal I'm consuming, but from where and how, especially with fish. Removing some meat from your diet is good for your health. You can get protein from different sources. Fiber is important. It's important, not just for your digestive system, but also your cardiovascular. Alcohol and tobacco use is very hard on all aspects of your body. I consciously choose to consume both those things on a somewhat regular basis. Bad choices, and then I'll own it, right? Drink water. Yeah, drink water. Some people would say caffeine is really bad for your heart. I don't know. I run hot anyway. There's mixed amounts of like the research and the data. It's kind of inconclusive. Relaxation, important. Also for your heart, not just your nerves, and your brain and your skin and your digestion, and being a human in a savage, often savage world. Anything that can help slow it down is good. Good habits to have. Relaxing, and also like being physically active, right? Because your heart is a muscle, and you want to train it, and you want to get it bumping, thumping, pumping, especially intentionally, right? And not like, you don't want the only time your heart rate to increase is when you experience stress, anxiety, danger. That's not good for anybody. You want to intentionally increase your heart rate and stamina, endurance, however you like, however you can, given other aspects of your human body experience. Again, some of these things, unfortunately, are not as accessible as they should be, given humans, systems. And again, we lean in wherever and however we can increase our agency, autonomy, independence, choice, being creative and innovative, and how we can give ourselves what we need, what we want, what you deserve. I love the harm reduction model. However, you can decrease the suck and increase the rad. That works for you. Yay, do that. And then of course I was thinking about plants, and I can't diagnose, I can't, not prescribing things. And again, the importance of making very informed, conscious decisions in relationship with specialized specialists and specialized care. But I was really thinking about hawthorn. So I was working with Rose, and I'm like, why is my heart not open? We'll get into some energetics. My heart is, I'm working on it. Sometimes it like explodes open, especially with a lot of you, because you give me so much. You give me so much, and you make it safe. I've been really thinking about hawthorn, and I don't know if you've seen hawthorn, but hawthorn has these freaking thorns, man, that like, you think Rose got some thorns. Check out hawthorn. So what's really cool about hawthorn is it's a cardiotonic. So cardiotonics are, it's a gentle, mild, beneficial action on heart and blood vessels. And cardiotonics aren't specific to diseases of the heart. Cardiotonics, anyone can use as like preventative, nourishing care. And we'll go through a couple of the cardiotonics, but hawthorn is one of them. So one of the things with hawthorn that's really cool is it nourishes regeneration. If there's any loss of function in the heart just from being human, whether it's hypertension, congestion, blockage, right? So part of why I was thinking about this was like, I don't physically feel congested or blocked or suppressed in my heart. I don't physically feel that, but I like emotionally, energetically feel blocked. And again, we won't go into super big detail why. I know why. Gin and cardiotonic. Yeah, no, you totally can. A great way to use hawthorn. And you want to use as much of the hawthorn plant as possible. I work a lot with the berries, but work with berries, flowers, leaves. Whenever, whole foods, whole plants, whenever you can do that, awesome. But hawthorn you can totally make syrup, you can make jelly, you can do all sorts of different things with hawthorn, and you could make cordials. You can make hawthorn cordials, I'm sure. I also learned today that cordial, so like drinks, are rooted like medieval times, of course, sometime around the Middle Ages of fucking white people. Cordials are related to borage, which we'll also talk about. Borage is an awesome, awesome plant, and their flowers are edible and super beautiful. Borage is really lovely. I do have borage flower essence for that like buoyancy of heart, courage when you're like, oh God, I can't fucking take that shit anymore. It's so hard. Ugh. Borage really helps with that. Yeah, I'm like really feeling the kitchen witchin' folk medicine and the kitchen stuff. yeah, hawthorn you can totally make. You can drink it as a tea. It's available at the pharmacy in tincture form. Excuse me. But like, get it and make stuff with it. That's the fun, right? That's the fun and the beauty. So, and the thing with hawthorn too is it's a great preventative care plant. Like, it keeps your heart healthy. So it's a plant to use before there is disease. There's no risk of toxicity. It's not contraindicated with any other medications that someone may be using for heart disease and heart problems, which again are vast and complex and should absolutely be explored and treated with a cardiologist. Other cardiotonics other than hawthorn, which hawthorn also helps with circulation, which is great for everything, right? That's great for your skin, your digestion, your thinking, you want stuff to flow and circulate at your baseline rate, right? You don't want it to be too low. You don't want it to fucking fire it up on all cylinders, like some people I know sometimes. Other cardiotonics, so yarrow, and I always forget this about yarrow because I really associate yarrow with bleeding, so it can stop or start blood depending on what's going on, and wound care, and I forget blood, heart, hello, that's also available at the shop too. That I highly recommend having a yarrow tincture. There's also yarrow flower essence, which is boundaries for energetic protection, but yarrow it's such a beautiful freaking plant. You can find it wild, Achillea millefolium. It's so beautiful. It looks dainty and it's not. It's great for first aid kits. I think everyone should know yarrow and love yarrow. Not just because I do, but it's great. Yarrow's freaking rad. And so one of the things that yarrow does when you use it internally is it tones blood vessels, right? Motherwort. I sent some motherwort to a friend today. It's like, I don't love sending people things because their heart hurts, but I'm also yo, I got you. What you need? So motherwort, Leonoris cardiaca, lion heart. Also a really rad plant that I noticed bees really, really enjoy motherwort. And so motherwort is also, it's on the relaxing end. So can lower blood pressure, can bring it down, especially if our heart, if we have an irregular heartbeat or a very fast heartbeat. I know I experience that when something really scary happens. My heart is the first thing I notice goes it skips a beat. It's oh fuck. It's that's literally physically what it seems like my heart does. But also the energetics of motherwort, right? We all have mother-child wound. No offense to any mothers. No offense. And we are all mother-child also, right? We all have that. Whether that's, whatever your life experience, life circumstances, relationships may be, we're humans. There's, I hope if you do have pain and wounding in that way, relatable, that's a tough one. I can feel that in my heart. So motherwort can work in that energetic kind of way with your heart also. So I'm going to post this, and I'll probably write something up. I'm dropping a shit ton of information, but I was really, really pumped to talk about some of these things. So we got hawthorn, we got yarrow, we got motherwort, we got borage, rose, of course, all the different ways to work with rose. Linden also, and linden flits into my space and then flits away. I think because it's affiliated with the fae, with the world of the fae, and I is part fae maybe. Linden is also great for it's also a cardiotonic, but it brings this levity, I think, kind of like borage does, but in a different way. I don't know if you've seen linden and linden flowers. There's it's very joyful and very sweet. and like, I don't know, it's like beautiful in a different way than roses, than these other plants are. And linden is great to use. You can drink it. I have tincture. If you experience, if like your heart palpitations are associated with anxiety and tension. Yeah. So those are some. Yeah, where do I source my herbs and do I forage? Yeah, so that's a great question. It has evolved over the years. I went from everything being grown by me to, as I've moved, a lot of the, I would say all of the tinctures and flower essences are from the first Meraki pharmacy, garden, and forage spaces. I'm really glad and grateful that I had so much respectful, honored access to things, and immediately made a lot of things into tincture and flower essence because they're preserved and they never go bad. So, which is different from the oils, or when you dry herbs, yeah, you have that. I would use anything dried, use within a year. So right now I'm working out of a lot of what I've had. From previous years. I forage a lot for things like comfrey, dandelion, nettle, things like that. And then I source my herbs. I have friends who grow things for me. And what I'm looking at now that I'm back in Pennsylvania is I have a 3-prong approach this year. Oh, I didn't tell you guys. I'm shifting some things. I'm going to start working soon for a natural landscape architecture design installation place that I'm super pumped about. So what I'm gonna do this year is Elle is gonna supply some flowers and herbs. Ms. Maz, Taryn's gonna supply some flowers and herbs. I gotta get up there with some seeds. We gotta start sowing, friends. And then there's a couple of local farms here where I am now in southeastern Pennsylvania that, practice organic permaculture. There's one place in particular that I'm looking at called True Love Seeds, and they're queer and femme owned, and they're local. So I'm gonna be doing some of that. Kind of bums me out. I really, 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 really I grew all of this stuff, and I'm excited to shift that in supporting really rad people that I respect and care about, and whose work is really important and matters, and gives me changes my structure of doing things so that I can pursue some other things, all related to plant and providing care. I absolutely will be growing a lot of stuff here in containers, looking at the community garden available here, and of course finding wild herbs are they have just a different potency. Yeah, as you can imagine, I really enjoy working with plants in the wild, and there's totally ways to forage very respectfully and responsibly, which is super, super important. That's a great question. Thank you for answering that, or asking that. Yeah, cool. And two, I'm also excited, not that it's a super different climate, but it is, and it's a significantly different grow zone here. So I'm like really, or hardiness zone. So I'm pumped to see what's popping and what's available. I've already seen a shit ton of mullein. You gotta be careful where you forage too, because yeah, you can't do a soil test necessarily, but if it's too close to the road, or it's like, I don't know, a former industrialized site where a lot of things like mullein will come in disturbed areas, you got to know where you're foraging. And you never take without giving. It's really important. The other thing that I was thinking about is like, all things heart. So that's like some very like tangible physical stuff. And then it's like the emotions, the energetics. And I don't know if I'm just recently hearing this, or, because I'm thinking about heart-related things. And I've really been thinking about, not just because Valentine's Day, but, and I mentioned this, a tea time or something, or like my February forecast of ideas, looking at bigger patterns of things, here we are continued. We're in this continuous opportunity to restructure, to rethink, to reassess, reinvent, whether it's retrograde period, Aquarius season, nearly a year of COVID and whatever the fuck is going on in this country. I think in order to think very creatively, resourcefully, innovatively, without judgment, but with discernment, we have to be connected to this big bumpin' thumpin' heart that should be open and also protected. Like things like hawthorn and rose can absolutely help with boundaries, right? And we also have to be connected to our core, our guts, our intuition, our innate knowing, right? And all the way down to the ground. So I was, encouraging, like work with expanding your consciousness, particularly with all this Aquarian energy, and also being like connect into the heart, because that's where you're gonna have your best ideas, right? When all these things are interconnected, it's just like treating yourself as a multi-dimensional being, which you are, and just like approaching your healthcare in an integrative, multi-system, multi-modality approaches, right? We want to, when we think about how we show up in the group, in the family, in the collective, at the workspace, in this country, right? We got to open mind, open heart, protected, boundaried, discerning. So, like having some focus on these areas of our being felt important. And so as I like continue to explore this through the lunar cycle, and anyway, blah, 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 fucking Lou and her patterns. But this phrase, like heart-centered living, and I noticed my immediate response was like, that sounds cute. That sounds privileged. That sounds hokey. Coming at it was all sorts of judgment, right? Like, what does that even mean, heart-centered? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So I've been pondering that, and I'm just posing that question to you. What does heart-centered living look like? And I'll share my opinion, right? Is, again, like I have a vitalist, like whole systems, integrate all the parts approach to lots of things, right? Especially health care, caring for our whole health of our mental, physical, emotional, psycho-spiritual bodies, right? We're all these things. So I like briefly looked at like, what's a definition of heart-centered? And then of course I was humbled because I was like, oh, duh, like I do. Okay, Lou, open your mind and your heart and like, think about it. What are your desires? What are your values? Where's your integrity, right? Like, where does integrity lie? I'm like, down the spine. Maybe it's more related to the heart than I previously thought. Words and ideas, concepts like resilience and courage. Like courage, yeah, courage I get is like heart affiliated. Resilience, like I was thinking of these things in more of a like mental gut kind of places. And again, like whatever any of this means for you is true and is real, and there's no one right answer. I'm exploring different ideas and different takes on things because like I don't know what I think about some things. Especially as I continue my human journey and my recovery, healing, healthcare, human journey, right? And as things evolve, as I spend more and more time deeply embodied, I'm, experiencing a lot of a deepening and broadening awareness of some things about myself that for many different reasons I wasn't able to see before. Summer shadow school, continuing to come out of that with a deeper, wider consciousness of like who I am and who I've been and who am I really. And this is hopefully an ongoing exploratory adventure for you also. I think, one of the things that stuck with me is like, when I was looking at what heart-centered mean is, fear, judgment, reactivity isn't, is totally normal human stuff. But if that's our baseline, if that's where we think, feel, act, choose from, we're not centered anywhere, let alone our heart, right? And there's not one tincture you can do for this. There's not one habit. Again, you're like, you got the shadow work and eat the foods and drink the teas and go to therapy and go outside and all those things, right? Are the tools necessary to explore and see, if we don't really know what we're afraid of, how can you face your fears? If you don't know what it feels like when your heart is racing, and then there's the whole thing of, fear saves our lives often, right? For some of us, our heart rate increasing absolutely is like a primary signal of like, dude, this isn't okay. And can either lead us to, am I in real present danger? Am I remembering? Am I triggered? Am I in a situation that's reminding me of previous traumas? Or do I need to get the fuck out of here? Right? So like the continuous dance of like, you don't want to just do things or take things to make your heart rate stay at baseline. These are signals of survival, and it's data and it's information for us to be as mindfully present with, so that we can see what the fuck is going on and respond appropriately, which might be run away, which might be say no, which might be, wow, I gotta take a minute and see what's going on. And of course that's gonna vary. Hi, Taryn. I think to like some of the, like, you should never be judgmental. I think also judging, I don't know what that means to different people, but like I judge the shit out of things. Abso-fucking-lutely I do. I can be so judgy. And I guess the difference or the cool thing is I am aware of it and I have a conversation with myself. I hold myself accountable. I see what I'm doing. I see what about this situation is giving me information and intel so I can make a different choice or learn about myself or apologize or go read a fucking book or assess a situation, with discernment. Discernment includes judgment. I think to like tell people you should never be fearful. You should never be judgmental. Your heart should always be open. You should love everyone. You should have compassion for everyone. I think these are broad, sweeping generalizations that don't account for very real realities for the majority of human beings present on this earth in this time, with the oppressive systems that have been at play for too long. Also, can we be more trauma informed? Some of my ideas on the be heart centered. That was a rant, kind of. Thanks for coming to my high noon talk. We're not done. And like I had mentioned, realizing that like my heart is not nearly as open as I've told myself it is. That kind of surprised me. I don't totally know what to do with that. I don't know which one of these plants is going to help me with that. Like, I've been pumping rose in and on me, and that is not opening shit, my friends. That isn't my solution, right? As I like tried working with a plant that absolutely does these things, like thousands of years of information, data, experiences, it's not the right plant for me right now. Or maybe there isn't a plant that's going to help me open my heart. Maybe Lou has to do some different kind of work, which is exciting, humbling. Is it exciting? I don't know. It's kind of like interesting to have your a sense of yourself really challenged, just like through direct life experience. Like, wow, I'm not tenderhearted. I don't think a plant is going to help me be tenderhearted, but what is? And I think, that's for me to explore and figure out. So that'll be a fun adventure. I will say part of realizing that is because the quality of my friendships and relationships has increased exponentially, maybe ironically over the past year, considering like none of us can socialize, I've learned a lot. And I think when we enter into safer, more secure, healthier interactions and relationships, we're able to see parts of ourselves better. I love relationship because the mirrors that we are for each other is so profound, and really can be a context for so much growth and healing, even if it hurts and is like really challenging and sucky. It's a great, I fucking love the charnel ground, friends. But I'm finding myself relating in very different ways, and seeing, my heart isn't super open. Also seeing where a lot of my fear is. So it's been interesting. It's been a fun time. What else did I want to share? Oh, skullcap is also helpful. I like skullcap at nighttime. It's also really pretty. Any questions? I'm so happy to see you, friends. I should schedule a thing. If any patron saints want to do a thing on Thursday, that could be fun. Oh, good. Great. Thank you. I'm glad that you tuned in also. Yay. And that you're loving the locks and lather. Oh, you're working Thursday. Okay. I know, man. There's like, I got to find a day and a time. Or like, I got to like make an actual schedule that, I don't know, that can accommodate as much of the homies as possible. It's great to see you too. I can't wait to really see you. I was ready for a road trip. Always ready for a road trip. California, here I come. First, I gotta go to New England. Probably not till the fall. I hope this was helpful and cool, and it always means a lot to me when you share your time with me. I appreciate it. I'll take any feedback you want. Any questions, I'm going to try and post this. You can follow up however you want. And of course, tons of these allies. There's other heart affiliated plants for sure. I talk about what I know from, direct practice, and the homies that are around here, whether they're invaders or whether they're colonizers or usually here or indigenous to here. What else was I going to say? Shop's wide open. There's some yummy stuff. And, the other thing, real quick. It's a bumpy week. I feel like it's a bumpy week. Energetically. So, people are human. So may you human to the best of your abilities. I am proud of you. I really like you. I care about you. Thanks for being with me. And let us know if we can do anything with the plants together. And I'll see you really soon. Thanks.